Good afternoon, everybody. How is everybody doing? I'll give everybody a minute here. What are you guys up to today? I have been, hey Jennifer. I've been busy getting the girls ready. Their first day is tomorrow, and so they've been busy packing their backpacks. I'm doing good. Hi, Cher. And we've been figuring out what lunches they want to take. Hello, Elmer. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And all the outfits are picked out, so that's been a morning of doing that and some laundry, and now I get to have a little break and do some crafting. What about you guys? What have you been up to today? This is the first time I've used these stencils. Hey Jenny. And I am really loving these layered stencils. Have you tried these, Jenny? So I did a couple, I did another variation of colors, which I wasn't overly happy with, but I was kind of just playing around with it. And it still looks pretty, but this one, I think the tone on tone is more my style. But definitely you can layer whatever colors you want. I put a little bit of this Pearlescent medium. It was the first time I had tried that as well on there on one of the layers. So you could definitely do whatever color. You could do rainbow of colors. But I decided to kind of do a tone on tone and really liked how that turned out. You tried yours last week, Jennifer? Yeah, even without, like if you just had the stencil, and you'll see when we do the stenciling, if you just had the stencil, you get such a beautiful effect. And I went over it with some Wow embossing powder just to do the outline of that stamp, to add a little bit of glitter there. So definitely lots of ideas. These are the small butterflies, and there's Stamp and Stencil that's in the store. Then there's a larger butterfly, or two butterflies on a stamp, but they're really big. And those are layering stencils, and there's a stamp and there's a die as well. Hey, Carrie. So we are going to play around with that, play around with this Avery Elle stamp, which has some really great sentiments, really great hello, fun sentiments to use. I love that buttercup, hot stuff. And I love that the dies work to cut out the big images. And all I did for these was stamp them and then just cut around them. And I just stamped them on white cardstock. Hey Sandy, how are you? And they just have such a really nice look. It's almost like that label look. So definitely lots. You can say hello baby, baby girl, or baby boy. Hello birthday boy. So that could be for anyone. I think that's a great all-purpose set. Then here's a look at that stamp set. So we'll use that. And here's a look at those stencils, and they are quite easy to use. Very easy, but a really great effect. And we're going to use some Distress inks. And before I start, I am going to show you the kit of the month. And if you guys are signed up for this, oh my gosh. Every time I look at it, I think this is definitely one of my favorites. I'm gonna zoom out here for a minute just so we can kind of, I'm gonna put the camera up for a minute just so we have more room to see. Hey Lorraine, how are you? So this is the Scrap Shotz Kit Club September kit. And is anybody a Kit Club member? So there's a whole information page. If you click on Kit Club on the website, you can find out all about it. You can sign up for 3 months at a time. It is a fantastic deal. And even if you just wanted, if there's any left for at a certain date, and it says on the website, I think it's maybe the 8th. If there's any left over from people who have already signed up, then you get to purchase it. And if you just want to purchase 1 kit, it's still a fantastic deal, but amazing deal if you're signing up. And they're always fantastic, the kits. Fall has arrived. Yes. You a MIT Club member. I think that means you're a member. It might be a special secret member code maybe. So here's a look at all these fun things, and I will kind of show you each thing. So this is washi tape, which is absolutely adorable. Look at this little truck. Seriously, perfect for fall. Then you've got the yellow hemp twine, which I love working with. This is great for tags, or you can add it to things on your scrapbook pages. Perfect. So you could even turn some of these into tags and you could add them. This is the ephemera pack. Autocorrect, I know, autocorrect is our nemesis, right? There's all these beautiful images: sweater weather, pumpkin pie, fall calls. Like, it's just gorgeous. And the imaging as well is so beautiful. Cartabella has really beautiful designs, and I love their paper. Their paper is fantastic. Then enamel dots, you get a half pack, and as well, when you are a club member, then you get to purchase add-ons before anybody else has a chance. So you can look at the Kit Club add-ons, and they're things like, if you want the full set of enamel dots, you can add that onto your order. Or if you want other items that are coordinated with this kit, then you can purchase them. And these are the chipboard accents. Again, the truck with the pumpkins, the rocking chair, how cute is that? The bike with the fall flowers, the fall latte. I just had my first pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks. When was it? This week. And it was so good. I try not to have them too often, but it was so good. And my daughter, who's 14, Amy, she decided she wanted to try it, and she's like, I need one of those. So we got her one that was decaf with oat milk, and she loved it. This is Pinkfresh Puffy Alpha stickers. They are really great, and I love this color. This green is so beautiful, like perfect for fall. And does my internet seem okay? I was watching it on my iPad and it was kind of glitchy, but is everything okay for you guys? I turned my iPad off. Now you get the full element sticker. It's the 12 by 12 sticker sheet. And again, you've got a whole bunch of coordinating images. All good here? Good. Okay. A lot of coordinating images that are going to match the papers and the images in the chipboard and the ephemera. And then you've got all these leaves that you can add as embellishments. And then all the really great sentiments. Pumpkins, fall cards, give thanks. Fall is my favorite. Oh, good, Jennifer. Okay. And here is the paper, which is like, it's so beautiful. And if you know what Cartabella paper feels like, it's that thick, heavy paper that's a little bit textured, and it's so beautiful. So you've got, this is a 3x4 cut apart sheet. So you've got all those great images. You can either use these on your page, you can do pocket pages, you could do cards with them. That would be great. Hi, Arlene, how are you doing? And then look at the back of this. This is a really great, just kind of a print that would go with anything. Then next, let's see, I'm gonna set these over here. Arlene, we're looking at the September kit, Scrap Shotz Kit Club, and then we're going to make a card. Hey, Rosie. These pumpkins, love them. Love the white pumpkins. And then you've got a really great gingham white and orange background. And pumpkin spice and everything nice. That's awesome. And all of the 4x6 cut aparts. And then the fall leaves on the back, really great print. Then this is very nice with these sentiments. You could either use this as your background, you could cut out these sentiments, do like a circle die, and use them as a focal point, and then you have a really great plaid. And here we have a beautiful floral with those colors, and you can see how well that green from the letter stickers matches. Sandy does a really great job at matching up these kits, and they're always completely full of amazing goodness. Thanks, Rosie, for linking that. Rosie just linked the September kit if you want to check that out, if you want to subscribe. Here's a background with the leaves and the dark, it's not, I don't think it's black, it's like a really dark brown, but it's really gorgeous. And then you've got the green plaid. And another leafy background. And these plaids are just beautiful. Hi, Lynn. I see people popping on, or maybe it's just finally telling me. Then this plaid as well, gorgeous color combination. And then kind of a tone-on-tone leaf print on the back. Here is the little, what size would these be? They're 1.5 squares, 1.5 inch. So look how many of these you get. You could totally use these as embellishments. You can cut these out with a little circle punch or add them in a strip. These are really cute. And all of these matching images and colors that are on the other papers. And then a really great stripe. This is a lot of paper. Then we've got a different background leaf with acorns and the white background. And kind of a reddish brown plaid. And here is the 4x4 cut apart sheet. I really love the images. I think I need to decorate for fall. Do you guys decorate for fall? And a nice green. We have a bin of fall decorations in the basement, and so we usually try to put them up early September. There you've got give thanks and fall pie, y'all. This would be wonderful for Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pie fixes everything. And a really nice leaf print with the white on the orange. And then you still get more. You get your background papers that match perfectly. So you've got 2 of the pumpkin patch, 2 of Hillary, I guess that's the name of it, and then 2 of Basil Red. And that red is such a lovely red. And those all come with your kit. So lots of goodness in that. Beautiful kit, Sandy. And definitely check that out on the website if you're looking for some beautiful fall papers and embellishments. All right, now we can look at this, get to this card here and the stenciling. And I know Jennifer said that she had tried some of this stenciling. Here's the card that we're gonna make. You're too lazy to decorate for any season but Christmas. Hey Betty, how are you? Happy September, Eva. It's definitely happy. So here's a look at that card. I'm going to zoom in a little bit there. So you get a really great background using these. Now there's a bunch of different layering stencils that Pinkfresh has come out with, and they are really, really easy to use and really gorgeous. So I brought out my stamp press. If you had that Make Art Station, that I think would be good to hold your stencils, or you could just use some washi tape. But I found this was easy. It's a good day today, I'm glad. So this is just my stamp press, or you could, if you have your Misty, then you can just use that. I'm just using it to hold my stencil and my background because it's magnetized. But if you didn't have that, then you could just use some washi tape and tape your paper on the back of your stencil. So all of the layering stencils from Pinkfresh they're numbered. So let me see if you can see this here. Yeah, they are easy, Jenny, and I was surprised as well. I expected it to be more difficult because they look amazing. So up in the left-hand corner, you've got the number. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we are going to start with number 1. And you also have this little score mark that shows you if you have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of paper, so that's the front of an A2 card, you can just line that up. And if you start there, I line up the first one, and then the next ones I line up more going by the stenciled image. So I know that everything's going to be on my paper if I start there. So I've got stencil number 1, and we are going to start out with the Distress ink in Salvaged Patina. So I've grabbed this, this one is Tailored Expressions, the blending brush. There's a few different ones, Picket Fence, Studio Cadia. I don't know what all is in the shop, but they're all really great for using with anything with a really detailed area. It really does kind of get into those areas a little bit better than the sponge. That I still use the sponge if I'm doing a background, but I do like the brushes if I'm doing a stencil. I know, Tamara, I just saw you texted me and I thought, oh, she didn't remember. That's okay. We just started. We're just doing this card here, the butterflies. So we started with stencil number 1, and this is the Salvaged Patina ink. And we are just going to stencil. And this is actually, I find this like super relaxing. And you could go as dark or as light as you wanted, honestly. It depends on the look that you wanted for your butterflies. And I think experimenting with a bunch of different colors would be really fun. And I will show you the one I made that was several colors. And I think I like the effect of doing more of a tone on tone look, but you can definitely play around with it. So sometimes you're just rubbing the ink pad. Sorry if that camera's moving. I'm trying to rub softly so the camera doesn't shake, so everybody tell me what you've been up to. We've just been getting ready for school, doing a few last minute shopping trips for a few needed clothing items. And my 14-year-old and I went shopping on, I think it was Monday. And she's so fun to shop with now, and you know, like I'll look at clothes and I can ask her opinion, and it's just been nice. Thanks, Tamara. The blending brushes, thank you, Rosie, for linking that. And my other daughter has just been enjoying the freedom of riding her bike. She's got a little bit, she graduated to Amy's old bike, so it's a little bit bigger, and she is loving the freedom of riding a bigger bike. So they've both been going on a few extra bike rides lately. And I've been crafting, getting lots of samples. All of Sandy's team for Scrap Shotz has been really working hard to do lots of samples for Carnival. So you'll see different projects probably posted on Instagram and Facebook as we get them done, and then lots of samples. And we'll have some make and takes there. So Carnival is next Saturday, Friday and Saturday with Creative Scrapbooker Magazine, and it's in the Northwest in Calgary, and then 2 weeks later there's one in Edmonton. So it'll be really nice to see everybody. So I'm just kind of taking my time. You could definitely, I could probably lay down ink a little bit faster if I used my foam, which is saturated with ink, and then went over the edges with the brush. But I think part of this is just enjoying your blending process. All right, so that we will leave. And all I did to clean these off was I took a rag and then just wiped it off. And oh, be careful because you don't want to bend those up. And you can just give it a wipe. There. And then we'll go to the next one. Or you could rinse those off with water too. Distress ink and oxides both rinse very easily. So for the next one, it's stencil number 2. And we are just going to line up the stencil now. So it's pretty much going to be in those corners as well, but just in case, I'm just kind of making sure that everything looks right, and then I'll add those magnets on top again. And the next one that I used was the Speckled Egg Distress Ink. So those are 2 of the newer colors that came out. And this one has a little bit more ink, so this is gonna go a little bit quicker. I think too, depending on the ink pad, sometimes some are a little bit deeper color and darker ink, and then your color goes on quicker. It just seems to saturate quicker. So the ink is more of a deeper color, and the oxides, we're going to use one of the oxides here in a minute, are more of a chalky finish, softer finish, and the inks are not going to show overlapping. You will get color changes if there's two that go over each other, but the oxides will more sit on top of the other one. All right, so that was actually really quick. That was number 2. Then we are going to go to number 3. And I couldn't exactly remember the color order. I think this was it, but the color order that I did. So it will be similar, but there's a chance it could be a little bit different. And you can line those up really easily. You're already packing up your big totes with product. Yeah, I bet it takes a long time to get organized for the shows. Oh yes, Betty, you're going to be at Edmonton. Awesome. Yes, if you want to do any shopping beforehand, if you know something you have your eye on, then by all means, order it and just say local pickup, and that you will pick up at the show, whichever show you're going to be at. So this one is the salvaged patina oxide. So a similar color, but it's a little bit softer and chalkier. And I think what I'm going to do is go over it first with the sponge, and then we'll go over any of those little areas, because it seems like for some reason the salvage patina, you can see like it's going on with the sponge, but I've really got the sponge saturated. So we'll do the sponge and then go over all the little areas in the corners with the brush. Yep, the show should be a lot of fun, but it definitely is a lot of behind the scenes work. Sandy's been so busy getting things ready. Lots of behind the scenes stuff so that we can make sure that you guys have an amazing time when you come. And Rosie's going to do the make and takes for Edmonton, and then I'm going to do them for Calgary. So we've got some really fun projects planned. So all I'm doing right here is just making sure I really get to the edges and in the corners of any of these. It really does give a sharper image with the brushes. Okay. And then our last one here, we've got the little outside of the wings, and then the little body, and there's also some dots. So I'm just lining them up. And if it's a little bit off, it's a stenciled look. I don't think you need to worry about it. And I wasn't sure how the black was going to look on the butterfly. This one is the Studio Cadia brush, and it's a little bit smaller. I don't want that. That is my Versamark. So I've got Distress Oxide in the black soot. But I really liked the look of it. And this is really nice and inky, and it just goes on so smooth. I think butterflies too are timeless, and go with everything. And you could color coordinate them whatever you want. If you wanted to make some fall colored butterflies and use them with your fall kit, your September kit club, that would be great. Some September pages with those fall colors. We went to the zoo recently and they had the butterfly exhibit open, which was really nice. We haven't seen that for a long time, and it is so cool seeing those butterflies. As long as you're not, you know, worried about them flying around your head. And the girls really wanted one to land on them, but of course they didn't, so they were a little bit bummed, but we got lots of photos of butterflies. So I think I will be definitely doing some of these up to match some of those butterfly pictures and doing some scrapbook pages. So you could also use the pixie spray if you wanted to put that on the back of your stencils to hold that steady. And the Distress Oxide, it's kind of, again, that chalky look, and so I felt like it just kind of softened that black, and you can see how stunning that looks. So I also wanted to show you, these I saw were back in stock. These Studio Cadia brush cleaners. I'm gonna move this out of the way for a minute. So I thought that I would show you how I use mine. Yes, Jenny, so here, I'm gonna hold them up. This is without even having them stamped. Hey, Stacy. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, they just, I mean, that color combination, even though they're all very similar colors, just looked really amazing. So this is the Studio Cadia brush cleaner. It's this little silicone thing. Yeah, it's so good for scrubbing. I don't worry about things being super clean, but of course, if you're going to use your brushes for different, we'll do the black one after, but for different colors, like if I wanted to have this next time, I couldn't remember what color, I would definitely want to give it a clean. And I just have a little bit of soapy water. This is just a little bit of some mild dish soap, and you just use this as a scrubber. So anything brush-like that you had to scrub, and then of course you would just rinse that off and your brush is clean. Thanks, Betty. So yeah, really super easy to do, and it just really gets into those grooves and gives your brush a quick little clean. And it may still be a little bit stained, but you'll know that ink won't transfer. So then we'll rinse that off after. But I just wanted to show you that because I thought they were back in, and I know they're really cool. All right. So after our intermittent cleaning break, we are going to add some embossing powder, but we really want to make sure this is dry. Thanks, Rosie. So if we put embossing powder over this right now, it might stick. What I did was just grab my little mini mink thing here, and if you have a laminator or the mink, this is great for drying your projects. So I'm just turning it on, and as soon as it's hot, and it doesn't take long, I'm just gonna run that through, and that makes sure, kind of is my double, making sure that everything is dry. Okay. And while that's heating up, we're going to take a piece, just black cardstock. The mink is, it's the Heidi Swap brand, and I'm not sure, Sandy, if can you still get these? So this one is the smaller one, and there's a 12-inch as well, and it's a laminator for doing foiling. So that's what that is. And it beeped green. So if I had like deco foil gel and I wanted to put foil on it, or if I had some toner sheets, you have 2 on an order. That should be here next week. So if you're interested in that, you can keep an eye on the shop. Yeah, so if I was foiling some toner, you'd add your project. Say if I had some toner sheets, add your foil, put it through, and it will stick the foil to any heat set foil. So this is new, and it's the first time that I tried it. It's Sizzix Pearlescent Medium, and this is a humongous bottle. So I do like that they've added this little stopper, because we all know, especially here in Calgary or Alberta, it's dry, and it's a good idea to always put something, some kind of press and seal or something to keep your stuff moist. I really like that they've added this in. It's just kind of an extra protection against drying. So that went through. I'm just gonna shoot it through again. Now I just have a plain foam. So we're going to use this as a sponge, or if you have a sponge, you could use a sponge. I just had this laying around, so I thought, well, I'll use that. And you're just going to get a little bit on. You don't need a ton. You can just dip in for more. So the cap as well is handy for just loading up your sponge so that you don't have a big blob. So we just want a little bit of this on the edges, and it is so beautiful and goes on so nicely. So we're just going to put it on each side, just because our butterflies are in the center, so we don't need it covering the whole thing. And then all I did after I was done my sample one, I'm just kind of lightly dabbing, which is why I'm going over it again. There. It just gives you a really lovely shine, pearlescent shine. Now, let me grab a piece of paper. I will show you it on white. And it just cleans up with water. I just rinsed out the sponge earlier so that I could reuse it. I actually let it dry, and it was quite hard, but as soon as I washed it, it rinsed out. So that is on white. A little bit more on there. I think you could put this, well, you can put it through a stencil. I'll show you the other butterflies. So can you see that kind of pearly finish? It will show up more as it dries. So whether it's white or dark cardstock, you're going to get a really cool effect. I'm going to put the cover back on here. And then we'll just wipe up our craft sheet. And I don't want to move the camera too much, so I'm not going to shake that too much. There we go. So this sample here with the multicolor butterflies that I was showing you earlier, I actually went through over the purple ink with the pearlescent medium. So I just did a stencil, used one of the stencil layers and went right over it with that, and you can see it really gave it a really pretty shine. So you can do that as a layer over top, or you can color your cardstock. So this cardstock is done. It's just a tiny bit damp because that's wet. So you know what we're gonna do is we're gonna just stick it through our laminator to dry it because it's easy. And then also if you have something, a background that's warped, I did a bunch of sprays the other day and there was a little bit of warping on my background. If you put it through your laminator or your ink machine, it flattens it out. So like a great tip for keeping those backgrounds flat. So we have that beautiful stenciled background, and now we're gonna take the stamp. So I'm going to come back to my stamp press. And we'll just put it through this way because why not? So we'll just take the backing off of the stamp. And we just have this beautiful, it's all in one layer, which is nice, and it coordinates with how the stencil is laid out. Stacy, you put your watercolor panels through it to flatten it. That is so smart. Yeah, anything that has a little bit of warping, just go for it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just eyeballing these to make sure that they're lined up. And I'm going to turn this off. And then I can just pull that out and I know that it's nice and dry. So that looks pretty good. And with that almost sketchy nature of the stamp, you're still fine. Even if you were a little bit off, it would be totally fine. So we're gonna get out our embossing folders. No, our embossing inks. And move this over. The butterflies look fairly simple to fussy cut. Yeah, they're very basic. They would not take you any time at all. Now, just to make double sure, I'm just gonna take this powder bag, just because, and I moved my thing, so I'm gonna have to line it up again. I should have done this probably before, but that's okay. It only took a minute. So you could then stamp with black if you wanted, or another color, or I was even thinking gold would look good, but I decided to go with the Halo embossing powder, just because it had such a really nice soft look. So this is the Wow powder, and this one's the Halo. Wanderlust as well is really beautiful. So we're going to use some Versamark ink, which is a sticky embossing ink, and it's going to hold your embossing powder. And you can just ink up that stamp panel. So you could either stamp these and cut them out, or like I did here, you can just use them as a background. It almost looks like a patterned paper. And I'm just going, I probably don't need to, but I'm going to go over it one more time. So I'm just pressing it down here. And then we're going to add that Halo powder. And you can just pour it all over, because you're going to pour the rest back in the jar. Really doesn't use much, and there's so much lovely sparkle on this powder. And I'm just lightly tapping. I'm not tapping hard because I don't want all my powder to come off. But look, already you can see that sparkle, and then once we heat it, it's going to be amazing. So I'm going to pour this back in over here so it's not all in my stamp press if I spill any. I've been really impressed with the Wow powders. And we'll just give this a wipe and pull this off. Okay, so now we can turn on our heat gun. You can let your heat gun heat up. Thanks, Arlene. Let it heat for a minute. And you can see my poor heat gun. I've dropped it numerous times. It still runs, and it's actually a really good heat gun. And then if you kind of start out doing it at the back, then it's not blowing your powder off. And by the time you get to the front, it's nice and hot, and it's going to melt that powder nice and quick. So hopefully you can see this melting. As soon as it kind of changes color, then you know that it's melted. So you don't need to overdo it. Arlene, yes, Scrap Shotz will be at both Calgary and Edmonton carnivals, and I will be helping them out in Calgary. So if you want to place an order for pickup, then you can just order from the website, and Sandy will bring your order to the show. And you just choose local pickup, so there's no shipping fees, and then you can pick it up there. All right, I think that's pretty much melted. Yes, we have a 30-foot booth in Calgary. There's going to be lots of space, so you can see the sparkle that's on the background. It's beautiful. Before we close that up, let's actually stamp our word. So I thought I did hello on the other card, and then I thought we'd do hey on this one. The butterflies are beautiful, aren't they? So this is just black cardstock, and again, I just sponged over the Pearlescent medium. This stuff is going to last forever. I will definitely be trying it through more stencils. So then I thought we would try this Glassy Ocean. Now this is a translucent powder, so when it melts, you can almost see that shine, that pearl through it, and I thought that was a really cool effect. So we're just gonna grab from this stamp set. We'll grab the hay. This is a really good stamp set. So this is the Loads of Hello, and there's stamps and dies. Because it's always nice to send a hello card. You could be saying hello, hey, it's your birthday, or hello, friend. All kinds of different occasions. Hello or hey or hi work. We're going to take our Versamark pad again. Thanks, Rosie just linked that if you're looking for that stamp set. And that one is by Avery Elle. So I'm just going to stamp this on. And I just find I kind of get a better stamped image if I'm using something to press down. Okay, so you can see very lightly, can barely see it. because it's a clear ink. And then we're gonna take the blue. Now I think if you wanted this blue to stand out a little more, you could do it on white cardstock, or you could even maybe stamp some white in the background and then add your embossing powder. But I kind of liked this effect. So this blue is the Wow Glassy Ocean. And then we'll heat this. And then you can see when it melts, like look, it's so cool, honestly. It melts super quick. So then you just let it dry for a minute or cool for a moment, and then we'll run it through the die cutter. So we've got our little hay die that will stick on there. Here's that sample card with the hello. I really like the scripty effect. And I'm just gonna run it through. Sorry for all that clunking. So there's that word die. If you wanted to cut out 3 or 4 layers of paper, you could do that. We're going to add a little bit of foam tape and just put our card together. So we've got card base, and we'll stick on the black background that we added that pearlescent medium to. So you can mix that in too with any, if I didn't say that, with any paints or any kind of liquid medium. You can mix this pearlescent in with it to get a really cool effect. Then we're going to take off a little bit, just trim a little bit off of the butterfly panel. And I'm just eyeballing it to cut fairly close to the butterflies on each side. And then we'll add a little bit of foam tape. So we've got our, I'm working through this Studio Cadia foam tape. So next week we're not going to have a live on Thursday because we'll be setting up for Carnival. But we will come to you at some point Friday. We'll probably pop in each day just to say hi and give you an update, you know, how the booth is looking and what's going on. So you can set your notifications for the page so that you will see when we post something. So we will definitely pop in. So no live next week, and then the week after, which is the 16th, I'm going to change to 1 p.m. just because my girls are in school and 3 o'clock is kind of, they'll be coming home in the middle of my live. So I thought if we did it at 1, then if I have to go pick them up or anything, it just works better. So on the 16th, you can just set your calendar, set your reminders for 1 o'clock. And I'm just using some tweezers just to get that backing off. This is a good strong tape. It's not going to move once you get it down. So that's on there. And then I have a piece of vellum, and I use these circles so much. These are the diagonal stitch circles from Pinkfresh, and these are definitely one of my most used die sets. So I know I kind of want it here, and how I did it the last time. I've got my little stamped sentiments. So they're just stamped on white with black ink. And I'm going to use some of these. Love these foam strips. These are the 3D foam strips from Scrapbook Adhesives. And for anything that's small or that you just need a little thin piece, I would definitely recommend these strips. They're so easy and quick to put on. Yeah, a circle die is definitely a staple. And it has such a nice edge too. And I also like that it has another die that can create a frame. So you've got lots of options. You've got a circle, you've got 4 dies in there. I think it's a really good price. And we'll just add one more little piece on the end here. And of course some non-stick scissors help, definitely. So we'll just pull off the backing. I've got some adhesive there, and my hands are covered with pearls. But that's okay. My whole, like, you can still see a little bit of it from the backgrounds that I did the other day, and my whole underneath my nail was stained, and I have not been able to get it out, and I thought, there's no way I can go on camera like that. So my daughter lent me her nail polish. But sometimes you just gotta get a little bit messy, and it's totally worth it. So you might be seeing some sneak peeks soon for the cards that we are going to do at Carnival. So I'm going to put this hay right in the center. And really, like, I mean, you could have it straight or you could have it going up. I kind of like it like that. And all I'm doing right now, this isn't glued down yet, but I'm just placing these elements on, and then I'm going to put the glue behind them so that it doesn't show through the vellum. So I love this. Hey, gorgeous. And this just a note to say. I thought that was really nice as well. You're back. It was birthday. You had cake. What kind of cake did you have, Lorraine? I think I need cake. My daughter actually made pumpkin cake the other day, and it was really good. This, well, you know what? It's looking straight enough. All right, so now we can go behind this die cut and add our adhesive. And then because it doesn't need to be stuck down too crazy. There we go. And then we've got our Nuvo Dream Drops. This one is Frosted Lake. I think there's 7 carrot cake. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. I think there's 7 6 or 7 colors. And when you put the Dream Drops on, you want to hold it directly vertical, and they are self-leveling. So you're going to put the little drop on, and normally you would probably be closer, but because I'm standing up, okay. It is self-leveling, so if you get any little bumpy areas, it's going to soften and go into a perfect little shape like those. So you have these beautiful, they look like little pearls. And there's a bunch of different colors, and these ones as well, I'll kind of show you here, look different, whether it's on black or on white. So you get a really cool effect. And they're iridescent. So there's a look at our Hey. Just a note to say, hey gorgeous. Thanks, Lorraine. And then there's hello, both equally beautiful, I believe. So there you go. You can check out any of those Pinkfresh layering stencils. They are very fun and can be used independently of the stamps, but the stamps definitely accent them. And the Avery Elle, loads of hello. Thanks, Betty. Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Hopefully have a good weekend. Thanks, Stacy. And if you're at Carnival, be sure to pop over, say hello. We are really excited to see everybody. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can just message Scrap Shotz. Otherwise, I will see you back for a live in 2 weeks on the 16th at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Thanks, Rosie. And thank you guys for stopping in to craft. And oh yeah, if you want to check out that September kit, then check it out and all of its fall goodness. I will talk to you later, guys. Bye.